Welcome to Falling into 40 with Bailey and Jessica.
Jingle bells. I've got those jingle bells. I'm talking that jingle-bells. I'm saying those jingle bells all the way. Woo. Woo. Okay, well, good morning and welcome back to Falling into 40. We're here. We may be a day late and $1 short, but nonetheless, we are here. We had full intentions of recording well before this, but life was crazy just for a quick minute, a whole month. But we are here and we are so glad to be here. And actually, here we are, Christmas Eve on the day of this recording. So Merry Christmas Eve, Bailey.
Merry Christmas Eve. Yes, I can't believe how fast we got to Christmas Eve this school year. I feel like we blinked, and I always forget every year how fast it goes after you hit Halloween. There's just so many different activities and things going on, plus the holiday season, and it just makes everything fly by. And I'm so glad we're going to get to have kind of a slower time during this holiday part. You're making a face. I know. am making a point to try to slow things down a little bit and enjoy it.
I have been myself, and it's been really nice. I haven't had a nap, which I used to be a professional napper. I could have won contests, maybe. I mean, I'm surprised that's not in the Olympics. Professional napping. Yeah, where you could be like hooked up to a machine to tell if you're really, sleeping. Who gets the longest REM sleep? I don't know. I used to be really good at napping, but now, even if I'm exhausted in this season of life, napping is hard because you've got that overwhelming feeling of all the things that have to be done. And actually, that's a personality trait too, like everything isn't an emergency. And we've talked about that before.
I told myself this holiday season I would intentionally slow down. I have a junior in high school, and it keeps coming up, but it's like we keep saying, this Christmas and next Christmas, she's in our house, and the ones after that, she'll still be here, but it'll feel different. It'll be different. And so I'm just kind of, taking it all in and just trying to be intentional about enjoying our time.
Everybody tells you, I mean, it's so cliche, but it's the truth. Just don't blink because they grow up so fast. But with all of that, I think today, Bailey and I have decided that we would end 2024 with Falling into 40, this particular episode, by circling back to the theme of friendship, which is kind of the reason we started this podcast. What does friendship look like during different seasons of life? And we both talked to several different people, 6 or 7, I think total, 8 maybe. But I think there's an overarching view of what friendship is, whether you're 10 or you're 79. And to me, it's no matter what, it's another form of love, another relationship that isn't just something to be tossed aside or taken lightly, that it is so vital to us as humans, and to be able to survive this world and the hardships and the joys and the triumphs, all of those things. Friendship is vital. So I think that's where we're at. You interviewed a 10-year-old.
Yes. So I asked both of my kids, my 10-year-old son and my 16-year-old daughter, and I asked my husband the question, what does friendship mean to you? And I'm going to start young. My son said, which you'll see the two boys gave much shorter answers than the girl. My son said, friendship is someone who gets you and someone you can count on no matter what.
I mean, and there's so much truth behind that. That may be a short, sweet, and simple answer, but that's the truth. I love it. And it's not overcomplicated.
And it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be.
Truly.
I think it's perfect.
And sometimes we do overcomplicate relationships and things like that.
The older we get, the more complicated we make things. So I love that he said that.
Yes. And then my daughter's is a little longer. She said, I would say that friendship is when you find someone that genuinely cares about you and everything isn't a competition. You just enjoy the presence of that person more than anything in the world. You might have your ups and downs and get on each other's nerves, but no matter what, you will always love each other. And so it's very teenage girl. That makes total sense that was her response to that.
It absolutely does. And it's, the competition part is actually something that I think can be a struggle for so many friendships, female friendships, even into your 20s. And hopefully, looking at all the seasons that I've gone through, and they are usually into categories by age. You see those friendships that you've had that were competitive, and that's not really a friendship. You want, just like she said, there's no competition. You want somebody in your corner that's going to root for you, that's going to cheer you on, even if they aren't in a spot where they have great things going on.
Right.
So I think that was great.
Like you said, the competition aspect, those may be short-term friends, but they're not going to be your lifelong friends, because at some point that push and pull is going to get to be too much to where it ends up separating friendships. And so I thought that was very fitting for a teenager. But I'll save my husband's.
Okay, this is one of our friends, a mutual friend. And she said, what makes my people my people? My circle is small, but I prefer it that way. My circle consists of people that I feel I can trust and that I feel I'm able to be myself around. I can confide in these people and not feel judged. They understand the way that I think about the world and my dry sense of humor. They would do anything for me, and I would do anything for them. I take their advice to heart. They are my cheerleaders when I'm struggling. Their presence is comforting. No matter how much time goes by from when we see each other, we can always pick up right where we left off. She also then texted, thank you for asking that. She said it was good to sit down and reflect on that question, what friendship meant to her. And I liked that she said that she can say something to her small circle and not feel judged. She knows she's in a judge-free zone, and she can talk things through with that certain small group of people.
Right.
So another great, those are all qualities, the things that she listed, the things that your daughter listed, the things that your son listed are all things that do make for good friends. And those are the qualities and traits we want to find in friendships.
Yeah.
Okay. What about, didn't you have one? Do you want to save it for?
No, I'll do it.
Okay.
So I asked my husband, just because he has lifetime friends that have been his friends since he was in grade school, that he still is very close with. So I really wanted his perspective on it, because he has had a lot of interaction with those friends here lately. And so I just kind of wanted to see what he said. And he said, real people, real conversations, fewer interactions, but are usually far more meaningful, intentional friendships. He sent me like a little list form, because that's how it is. And I think it's true. Just real. It's just kind of like yours was. It's just, you can be real, and everything is intentional, because you don't know when you're going to talk to each other again or see each other again. And so a lot of time passes between interactions, but that makes it even more meaningful when you do get together, or when you do have those conversations. And we're in a stage of life where things get heavy, and you need those people to lean on. And so that's what I've noticed even here lately, is that more and more of our talks with our friends, or when we get to have a conversation with friends, leads to a heavier topic or something going on in life. And that's just kind of the stage of life we're in. Is you say over and over again, and I think we've said this, when time passes, or we get a little older, things are going to get easier, and things are getting heavier in different ways for us. And more these relationships and these friendships become more important, just to have that person to lean on, to talk to when things do get heavy. Because decisions we make and the things that are happening with us right now are hard. Nothing is easy. And so to have somebody to support you, or to be in a judgment-free zone when you're having a conversation, is very vital, no matter what, no matter who you are.
No matter who you are. And I think for those that are married, your spouse we've talked about this before too. It's not always a good thing for that relationship to bog it down with all the heavy stuff that maybe you want to talk about, something that you're not keeping from them in any way, but talk it out with somebody, so you don't put the burden on your spouse, because they carry their own burdens.
There's enough heavy things in a marriage that are just present anyway within your relationship, finances, all of the things that go with running a household and raising children. That's all heavy enough. And so the more personal things are the things that even maybe they wouldn't understand fully, because you're not the same, or you're not going through similar things at the same time, and things like that.
Men's brains don't operate like female brains do. So I love this answer, and I'm just going to read it, and I think that you will know who sent this. I had texted her and said that we were doing this podcast over friendship, and my question was, what does friendship look like to you at this current season in life? Same question, but also in the sense of a big picture. Anything you want to share that you've learned along the way? And her response was, late Lucy here, because she sent it yesterday morning. And I had sent it, several days earlier. She said, my flesh wants to give friendship a broad buffer due to busy family and work schedules. And God is abundantly gracious in these real life situations. Ultimately, friendship is a Holy Spirit knitting of hearts that many times defies commonalities. I do think human commitment and investment is needed. In my experience, you might try to put a time or amount requirement on that investment, but that could be a mistake. Friends share and take on one another's laughter, tears, joys, and defeats. I consider myself abundantly blessed to have friends like the both of you. And that comes from one of our very best friends, who happens to be... Are you tearing up over there, Bailey?
Yes. Huh? I can picture saying it.
Yes. who is in her 60s. And she is absolutely in our small group of friends who we love and trust. But her words right there, I think, said something so very important. And I wish I could tear up like Bailey. I want our listeners to know I really am an empathetic, sympathetic, compassionate person, but for some reason my tears don't fall very often. We can talk about that in a therapeutic session later.
I'm a baby.
No, my grandmother, my late grandmother, she always told me that she wanted to cry and she couldn't, and she wished that people could see her tears that weren't there.
Yes.
So anyway, I don't cry often, but her words were very touching. But I love that she said the Holy Spirit knitting of hearts that many times defies commonalities, because I have friends that are exact opposite of me. We don't have a lot of things in common. And the things that we do have in common is loving the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe besides that, there's not a whole lot. And the age difference between her and us isn't a normal combination of best friends. But here we are, and she's truly, I don't want to do life without her ever.
Yep.
You know? So this next one is from somebody that is in their 70s. And she said, friendship in this season is certainly different now. I have worked with many different people since we moved here through church, community events, and local boards. I've rarely found people that I didn't like and could work with or count on if needed, and I still see them around town and catch up. But most were not people that I've ever stayed in personal touch with. At this age, the friendships are smaller, but much more intimate. We can express or comment on things without judgment.
Yep.
Another judgment. If friends are not in this small group, I can still communicate and consider them a friend, but not on a level that I feel comfortable revealing personal details that I know will be in confidence. I still miss 2 friends that were in her very close group, even though they are both gone under different circumstances. So one is still alive and one has passed away. Oh, she said, I'm going to be interested in listening to thoughts for your age, because that age flew by and didn't even stop to think about my friendships or how they were changing. And I've got a story real quick on this. I'm just going to go ahead and say that was from my mother-in-law. And I got to witness one of the most beautiful things I think I've ever witnessed in my life that showed true friendship. I mean, this isn't for everybody, and maybe not something many people could do, but one of her very, very best friends who became part of our family, friends that become family, her name was Teddy. And Teddy had lung cancer, and she was put on hospice, and she did not want to go to the hospital or nursing home during those final days, and which was months. You know how that can happen. My mother and father-in-law rearranged their front room, and Teddy moved in with them in her hospital bed. And she was by the front window so that she could have sunlight and could see outside. And they took care of her in those days of dying. And that, to me, I've never witnessed such a selfless thing.
Right.
Because even for my father-in-law to be on board, I mean, that's not for the faint of heart. Anybody that's seen somebody die or had a family member, but a friend, another person that isn't a relative, move in and take their last breaths in your home. And Teddy is loved by many in this community still. And she actually took her last breath on my mother-in-law's birthday. And I remember my father-in-law had told her that morning and she wasn't conscious anymore. She was in her final hours, but he was holding her hand and he said, "Don't you dare do this today. Teddy, we love you, but not today." And I think it says a lot because Teddy's spirit was really strong and she was kind of a little pill. And he told her not to, and
she did.
But she's missed, and that is just such a testament, I think. If my mother-in-law listens to this, I do want her to know that impacted me, and she showed me. I don't even have the adequate words to say.
It's true friendship.
That's down to the nitty-gritty hard. So that kind of went over those people that we just spoke about. Those are all different ages. So, God's word, Ecclesiastes 3, a time for everything. There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to scatter stones and a time to gather them, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to search and a time to give up, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to mend, a time to be silent and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. And that was Ecclesiastes chapter 3, 1-8. And I think that tells us right there, with our friendships, there are seasons where friends come in and out. And it's important to remember that while maybe a friendship, it was for a season, that it doesn't make it invaluable to your life. The purpose of that friendship could have been extremely impactful, and God could have, purposely used that person, that friendship to get you where you're going on to the next season or phase. And so I have many friends like that I think about, and I hope they know, even people in college that I don't even have their contact info anymore, and social media, lots of people have given it up at this point and or got married and their names changed or started a new one. And anyway, there's not a way to reconnect, but it's okay that some friendships do die off, and it's okay to mourn friendships that are no longer. Sometimes friendships end for reasons of differences. Maybe there's been a fight or friendships take two.
Well, like you said, it could even just be geography. Like you've moved to a different place, you're at a different place in your life, and there's not really a way to reconnect with them as much as you would like to. But I love what you said about friendships having seasons and how they're just as important because they guided you through and they were a part of the season of your life that they needed to be a part of. And it's such proof that no matter what, God is in control of even that aspect of your life because he puts people in your life during times that you need those people in your life. Just like you said, those people were important and they were put in your life for a reason, even if it was for a shorter period of time than your long-term friends that also are in your life and have been in your life for this long of a period of time for a reason. And so I think that was spot on for friendships and just the ebbs and flows of different friendships too.
The other thing, there were some responses that said there are some friends that you can pick right back up with where you've left off. I have multiple friends like that are from childhood. And I got to go on a trip last year with a childhood best friend who is a lifetime best friend, but I hadn't seen her in 7 years. Her husband had asked her, he had said, do you think it's going to be weird? Like, are y'all going to be weird? And it wasn't weird. It was like it had been a day, although it had been 7 years. And while we had changed, we had never stopped talking in that time. And actually, we mostly text. We don't normally have, with her schedule and my schedule, texting is easiest. So, but we were able to pick right back up where we left off. And it was the best trip. It was short and sweet. But I think the older we get, the more we realize that it's quality, not quantity. Yes. And we've got to be thankful for those friends that we have. And we have to remember it does take two. And while we do have seasons of weeping and seasons of mourning, we also have to remember that we can't be the friend that's always taking and not giving anything back. And that's not to say we don't, like when a friend's going through something, they're going through it and they need the group of friends, the small group, to be there. But we also have to realize that every season isn't pouring on us. You know what I mean? Every season isn't awful or hard. There are seasons that are just wonderful too. And the thing about it is we're not normally going through the same things at the same time as our friends. And that's a good thing, because when I need support, my friends are able to give it to me. If we were all in the same situation at the same time, none of us could pour into the other one. I feel incredibly blessed to have friends that I can laugh with, that I can cry with, even though my tears don't flow. I can share my burdens with. I'm so thankful. I'm thankful for Bailey. And, Bailey and I, we grew up together and more of as acquaintances. And our friendship developed at our place of employment. And the more we got to know each other, the more we just realized that we did have a friendship and that we could trust one another. And I want to tell you that I am so thankful for you and this small group that we have and that I have. I can't say enough. All those memes about, just wrap me up and put me under the tree and remind people that I'm the gift. You're my gift. And the others that are in my little group, they know who they are, that they are my gift. And it's so great to be able to be myself. And I think that's something that I've really learned as I've gotten older and wiser and more comfortable in my own skin, that, you know, especially when you're with your people, it's okay. Like, I'm a weirdo. I laugh at weird things. I make myself laugh. And my little group can stare at me and laugh, or can stare at me and think, what is she doing? And it's none of it's in a judgment. You know what I mean? I could just,
it's a judgment-free zone.
It is just a good place. And at the end of every day, I have so many things to be thankful for. I have so many, you know, that song, count your blessings, name them one by, I don't think that's the tune. Anyway, I have so many things to be thankful for. Bailey is one of them. And my friendships mean the world to me. And I'm thankful for all of the friendships I've had in my different seasons. But this one right now seems especially wonderful. And the friends that I have in this close group aren't seasonal friends. They are the lifers. And so for that, I am grateful.
I totally agree. I think we're in a season where our friends right now are our lifetime friends. The survival of the fittest.
Yes.
But I have to bring up, so we celebrated our friendships recently. Our little small group, we had a little Friendsmas get together, and that was so amazing. And if you can do it, I have to recommend it. If you have your small group, whether it's 2, whether it's 3, however many you have in your small circle, celebrate your circle and get together. And it doesn't have to be big or grand or massive, but get together and celebrate just your friendship. And I feel like we did that a few weeks ago. We got together at Jessica's house and we, had a little snack spread and just sat around the table and just laughed and talked about everything under the sun. And we laughed until we cried. And it just felt like it was just 100% a celebration of our friendship. And again, no judgment, no worries about anything, about the way we looked, about what we were doing. It was just, I felt so blessed leaving that get together because it was just a celebration of our friendship and the season of life that we're in. I mean, do it. Get in your pajamas. It doesn't matter. Wear your muumuu and get with your friends and celebrate each other. And again, it doesn't have to be forced. It was a perfect get together to me.
And it was. And this is how stress-free it was. I didn't even have, I don't know what had happened. Like, I don't know how I had meant to get the spread ready, and I had Christmas plates. Well, I couldn't find the Christmas plates. I blamed my husband, thought that he moved them to a shop. Well, I forgot to tell everybody. They were out there. We found them. He did not move them. Maybe I did. But it wasn't perfect. It was perfect.
It didn't matter.
It didn't matter. One of our friends got there and she saw what I was wearing. And I have on these Rothy, like little mule, what do you call them?
Like clogs?
Clogs.
Yeah.
Is mule an old lady word? Did I just use an old lady shoe word?
I mean, I love a good mule, but
Yeah, me too.
I used to get made fun of for my mules.
Okay, well, they're just like these little clogs, and they almost look like house shoes. And I saw her staring at them. She was the first one here, and she was staring at them, and she said, "Oh, I forgot something at her house." And she had on some tall, like knee-high boots, and she said, "I'm gonna run home and get that, and I think I'm gonna put on." She was like, "They're kind of like house shoes. I wear them everywhere." But I said, "Oh yeah." It just made me laugh because she looked at my shoes and decided that
she wanted to be more comfortable.
Yeah. So anyway.
Well, and you told me that. And so I was like, you know what? I had tennis shoes in my hand that I was going to put on, and I just left my house shoes on. And I carried my tennis shoes out to my car just in case. But then I was like, you know what? I'm just leaving these house shoes on. And it was perfect. And again, it should be stress-free and it should be easy. And it definitely was. And I haven't had a time like that in a very long time. And I think it was needed, and I recommend it to anybody, even if it's just one person who is your very best friend that you want to go have a stress-free time with. I just think it's important to do that. So
it is. And just make the time, because if we wait around for time, you're never going to have any. And it's the one thing that we all have, time. And it's the one thing that it's all running out for everybody.
Yeah.
So don't wait. So as we wrap this up, our first year of podcasting, we slowed down a little bit on recording and getting these episodes done and out there. That's okay with us. We want to keep it to where it's not a job, it's fun. And when we both can do it, and at this season in our life, we're both busy. So we want our listeners to know that we're still here. We haven't stopped, and we will get them out when we can, as we can. Because we do enjoy it. Also, it's important to remember, back on friendships real quick, they're going to look different for everyone. And that's okay. Whatever your friendships are and what makes them unique is going to be different between each set of friends. And that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
So anywho, that is all I have for today. I hope everybody has, by the time this is out, Christmas will have passed. So I hope everyone has a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And maybe we'll get another recording in before school starts back.
I think we will. And I am just so grateful. Again, we're in a season where lots of changes are happening in our families, just with our kids growing older and us growing older. And each year I feel like it's more nostalgic for me. And I reflect back, and this has been a year of blessings, and I'm just counting all of them. And I'm so thankful for you, Jessica. I'm so thankful for this podcast and just everything. I just feel so blessed, and I have an abundance of things to be thankful for. And I'm glad to be at that point, because I know not everybody can say that. And I'm grateful. And I think, yes, let's do another one, like before we have to go back into the hustle and bustle. But
yes, I think so. Let's do it. Well, whether you are falling into 40, whether you aren't even close to 40, maybe you are well past 40. We hope that, but we're thankful for you. And we hope that you know that you're welcome here. And we love you. Jesus loves you. And Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, all the things. And we will be back soon.
Merry Christmas, and we're so thankful for you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for tuning in with us on today's episode of Falling into 40. You can find us on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts.